Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this one is coming to you straight out of Florida. But before I get started on it, what in the heck is going on with some of our doctors in our hospitals and the mistakes that they're making? And in this case, this led to a man's death by a surgeon making a huge mistake. If you've been following me, I did a previous video on a situation that happened in Atlanta, Georgia at an Emory University hospital where a man had he was having some brain surgery done, and the doctors had removed a bone flap to open up his skull. They did the surgery, and then the staff could not find the bone flap to replace it. Therefore, they had to put a synthetic bone flap in, which added to a longer stay in the hospital. They misplaced his bone flap. They charged him for the new synthetic flap, which eventually got infected. And he actually incurred, like I said, several extra weeks in the hospital and a huge, well over $100,000 to $200,000 medical bill for the mistake that the hospital staff, the doctors, had made. So there's a huge civil lawsuit for that. Well, this one out of Florida, this mistake led to this man's death. And so let's see what happened here. Doctor mistakenly removes liver instead of spleen, lawsuit says. A surgeon accidentally killed a patient by removing his liver instead of his spleen, a lawsuit is claimed. Beverly Bryan is suing Florida's Ascension Sacred Heart Emerald Coast Hospital and Dr. Thomas Shaknovsky regarding the death of her 70-year-old husband, Bill Bryan. Ascension Medical Group told Newsweek in a statement, "Our thoughts and prayers are with the family. Sacred Heart Emerald Coast leadership is investigating this matter." According to a statement by Beverly Bryan's Pensacola-based attorney, the couple from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, were visiting their rental property in Okaloosa County, Florida, when Bill Bryan suddenly began experiencing pain on his left side. On August 21st, 2024, Dr. Shaknovsky proceeded with a hand-assisted laparoscopic splenectomy procedure, the statement reads. During this operation, Dr. Shaknovsky removed Mr. Bryan's liver. In doing so, transected the major vasculature supplying the liver, causing immediate and catastrophic blood loss resulting in his death. The surgeon proceeded with labeling the removed liver specimen as a spleen. He didn't know the difference between a liver and a spleen, what it looks like and where it is anatomically on a human body, in a human body. And it wasn't until following the death that it was identified that the organ removed was actually Mr. Bryan's liver as opposed to his spleen. What are these doctors doing in these operating rooms and being distracted, or what's going on? And this is basic anatomy. The surgeon told Mrs. Bryan after the procedure that the spleen was so diseased that it was 4 times bigger than usual and had migrated to the other side of Mr. Bryan's body, the statement alleges. The family was later informed that Bill Bryan's spleen was still in his body and appeared with a small cyst on its surface. Beverly Bryan is now pursuing both criminal and civil cases. She said, "My husband died while helpless on the operating room table of Dr. Shagnovsky," she said in a statement. There has been considerable debate this year as to whether Florida law makes it too difficult for families to sue doctors for emotional damage when a loved one dies. You got to pay attention to your state laws. I say this in all my videos. We worry about federal laws and who's going to be the president and vice president, but you need to know what these politicians and lawmakers are doing to legislate the laws that affect you each and every day. This was an attempt in February to repeal a law that prevents pain and suffering lawsuits against doctors when an adult patient dies. The law applies only to adult patients and adult family members. The measure was defeated in the state legislature in March. Here again, you gotta follow what's going on with your state laws. What is going on in our hospitals? This is a second case, and I'm sure there are several others throughout the country where people are going into hospitals and having surgical procedures done under the auspices of hopefully feeling better and getting better. And these hospitals and these doctors and staff members are making huge human error and mistakes. And this one led to this man's death. 70 years old, from muscle shoals. What kind of emotional stress this has caused to his family, and let alone his wife that was there at the hospital with him, that she and her family put her husband's life in the hands of these doctors and staff members, and the surgeon who has been operating for years didn't know the difference between anatomically where a liver is, where your spleen is, and also visually, they don't look the same. For him to accidentally take out the man's liver versus his spleen and doesn't realize it, something is going on wacky in that physician's brain. When you're going to the doctor or to a surgeon, we are hoping and praying that they do not make not even one iota of a mistake. You're putting your life in the hands of another human being who you hope has been optimally trained to know what he's doing and to do the right thing. Was this doctor distracted doing the case in the operating room? Who knows? But this mistake led to this man's death. As I said before, you had a scenario at Emory Hospital where the staff was operating on a man's brain and removed a bone flap that they were going to replace after surgery, and then they couldn't find it. I've done several videos on TikTok doctors that are videotaping their surgeries live when you're talking about violating HIPAA laws, and in specific, female Ohio plastic surgeon and a black female dermatologist were both filming their surgeries on TikTok, and both of them have gotten into a lot of trouble. The Ohio doctor lost her medical license, and the dermatologist that was doing surgical procedures that she was not trained to do is in a ton of hot water. And her nickname, or her name, was Dr. Butte, and she was doing butt surgeries and all kinds of plastic surgeries that she was not qualified to do. And now you have this scenario where this surgeon evidently, like as I said, did not know the difference between a spleen and a liver, where they are anatomically on the body. That all medical students in year one of medical school take gross anatomy, and in the past used to work on cadavers. They still may do that to this day. So that's deceased humans, and so that's basic year one medical school knowledge to know where the lungs are, how many lungs you have, how many kidneys you have, how many spleens you have, and where they are position in a human being. I don't know what to tell you on this one. This is gross negligence at its best and its finest. She is definitely going to win this lawsuit, but she won't get her husband back. We're supposed to be, these physicians are supposed to be in the business of helping and healing. And this was a case where it was not helping and healing. It was the ultimate egregiousness of hurting, which led to this 70-year-old man's death at the hands of this surgeon, his staff, and this hospital, allegedly. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.